to make sure, just to see.
Right. Hello and welcome to today's race stream. It is ZFS GT3 Championship Round 2 we're in today. My name's RBG and I'm going to lift that microphone to a much better position. There we go, that's much better. And we're here today for a round at Spa, our second round, and I'm joined in the co-commentary box. Well, it's the commentary box, so I suppose it's the co-commentator in the co-commentary box. It's Alistair.
Okay.
I fucked that up. It's all good.
I mean, I can get my own box, the nice little co-commentary box, so keep the distance and everything, keep that going.
That's what you're about.
Good times, yeah.
So we're here today, we're only a few minutes away from start today. We had a few technical hiccups trying to get off and live, but we're here. We're going to have a little look at what we are looking at today in the race details. So today we have our round 2 at Spa. In a few minutes time we're going to be kicking off the qualifying, a 10-minute session. Could see the possibility of rain in that session, 45% chance of rain in the quali, so not really sure what's going to happen on that one. Race 1, looking at 60% chance of rain, so there's a good chance it's actually could look like it could rain across all 3 of these, or it could race across none of them whatsoever. We'll just have to wait and see. But it's the usual sort of format. Race 1, sprint, no fuels or tyres, guys can go at it. Race 2, we slap on the fuels and tyre wear and see what strategies people can come up with the combinations that we give them. We're racing in Group 3 cars, so people are allowed to choose whatever car they want for whatever race, not like they have to choose a certain car for a certain race or anything like that. So what are you thinking about that? A forecast, Al? You hoping to see a race in the rain? I don't know.
I mean, the Belgians, I don't know how their weather is really, but I'd say race 1 is, the 60% chance as well. We'll see the rain. It's going to happen. Practice, no, there wouldn't be anything. I'll actually go for that 45% chance and say qualifying race 1 rain, race 2 nothing. It might make things a bit interesting, but having a wet track with the tyre and the fuel, like having to keep an eye on the tyre and fuel, makes things very interesting. But
it's one of those ones as well. It's the rules that are put together on this one, that whatever tyre compound people qualify on, they have to go into race 1 on, and whatever tyre compound they finish race 1 on, they have to start race 2 on. So you could see a possibility here that someone's going to start on the wrong set of tyres, and they've got a choice to make of whether they go in for a very early pit and get onto the right set of tyres, because you'll be starting on wet tyres in the dry, or dry tyres in the wet. We might see a bit of that happening as well, so that's going to be very interesting to see as people start joining into the room. We are just going to flip over and look at the standings currently as they are for the season. Also on board with Bart's doing in some practice laps at the minute. So our leader at the minute is Rabbit with 32 points, and we've got Websons with 28. Joint second place is Bart's as well with 28. Then just 2 points behind, you've got Stephen Clift in 4th, Kenobi in 5th with 23, Ash in 6th with 22 points. You've got Dorsey with 21 points, DJ in 8th place with 20, Edinburgh Lad in 9th place with 16. You've got Draco and Red both drawn in 10th place. Then you've got Math in 12th, Assassin Sablaza in 13th, Steedy in 14th, and Drifty Boy in 15th. We do have a couple of new runners today. We've got Legion out there, which I'll just quickly flip us over to the gameplay. Legion out, which I've seen, I think you've commentated a few races with Legion in before, fast race.
Yeah,
could look at a possible a favourite to go and win there. And we've also got someone drop in, LGBT Baron. We didn't see them race with us last week, so it'd be interesting to see where they sort of interrupt the field and whether they could be a bit of a dark horse in terms of the individual races and stuff. But I think it's going to be a bit of a toss-up between Rabid and Legion, and I'll probably put my money on Legion at the moment, but we'll have to wait and see how we go.
That's it. Well, I've commentated over Legion before, and if I remember correctly, he's a very, very fast driver, so be great on the sprints, but I haven't ever seen him do anything tactically. So balancing between him and Rabid on the tactics, it's going to be that'll be the toss-up. But sprints seem to favour Legion.
Alright, so the quali is just being set up now, so that's why you're getting a hold screen, so give us one moment whilst we just get the qualifier all sorted. And allow me just to refurbish myself with the forecast, check in with the weather centre in Belgium, kind of like the Met Office in Belgium, whatever the equivalent of that is. in Belgium. I'm sure they have something along the lines of that. I'm sure they
Lemaitre.
I'm sure they check the weather out there. So allow me a moment, and let me just change those settings over, and we'll get this quali underway in about 20 seconds or so. So should be a good one tonight. It should really quali really is going to set the scene, really, as it always does, in terms of, you know, who's going to be having a fight at the front and who's going to be having a fight at the back.
Yeah, I mean, what are we going to be expecting from Spa? I mean, it's quite a famous racetrack, so there'll be a lot of people familiar with it. But for these type of drivers, are we expecting a fast, aggressive one, or more of a tactical sort of mismatch around the corners?
We will just have, well, it's going to be an interesting one, isn't it, to see what the guys come up with. Apologies for flicking on the wrong screen. I'll just announce to the guys that the quali starts. And we will get ourselves into spectate mode and get us in view. And I didn't realise I didn't have actually any of the chat up or anything, which is why we don't have anyone hugely in there at the moment, so we can pull that out. But qualifiers underway. Guys are going to go put out their laps. You can see a few people going on the intermediate tyres out. You see that IM on the side. That generally means they are wearing the tyres you'd expect to see in the wet. Looks cloudy out there, but it looks like they are in the dry. So it's a dry quali. The forecast of 45% rain hasn't come true on this one, so going to have to make a choice now. Do you go out there on your wet tyres and kind of hope that race one is a wet race, and kind of accept that you'll be at the back of the grid, but you'll be much faster if you manage to get that call right? You know, you'll be much faster.
It's always going to be hedging your bets either way you go. If you set the tyres to expect rain, you're never going to know. You're never going to be 100% sure.
Absolutely.
And that's always a thing with any sort of event that relies on the weather. You can be as tactically sound as you want, but you're going to have to guess at some point. And unfortunately for some people, they're going to hedge their bets wrong. It's going to affect them, and they may not be able to reach where they would have. So yeah, unfortunately with the weather, it's always down to luck.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're on board with ZFS Rabbit at the moment. Also, everyone's going on their out laps. Obviously, our current leader of the season. I think, like I said, I think when I've seen these boys race before, 7 times out of 10, a Legion's going to come out on top. So I'm hedging my bets on Legion tonight, but Rabbit could pull out a surprise for us tonight. So we're just watching him go round as some of the front boys now come round to what is the end of Spa. Spa's quite a long lap. You're looking about 2.5 minute laps here at Spa, so you're looking at quite a long lap time, so it's going to take a while for people to get around and do their out laps. So they've only really got a chance for 2 at best 3 attempts here before the quali ends, and we're going to jump on board with Math. I believe Math in our standings. He was around about 12th, yeah. He's in 12th place as we look at him with Math there. We'll flip back over to the gameplay and jump back over and see on board. If he misses his apex a little bit there, maybe pushed a little bit too aggressively on the throttle as well. It saw him lose his rear a little bit. But not too bad through there. The real test of this track is going up El Rouge, which is this bit here, getting up here and trying to not lose the car too much and lose too much speed. I'd say Math lost a little bit of speed going through there, but not too bad at all as he comes down of what is the long straight. So we're going to see during the race a lot of overtakes happening here. This is really where a lot of the action happens and a lot of the movement happens across the positions. Onto the brake as you hit the curbstones on the left. Hit your 2 apexes here. He's got through here fairly neatly. He's off to sort of a satisfying start, I'm sure. You get yourself a nice banker lap in. Your first lap, you just want to make sure you don't do any huge mistakes. You don't want to push yourself too hard, and you know you've got another lap you can do after this when you really want to push yourself through the corners and try and get to a full optimum. Just got to hop back a few cars. We're in board with Assassins of Blaza, who's running out in the BMW M6 power car there, Al. Again, another race just like last week. It's going to suit the power cars. A lot of big straights, a lot of throttle time, a few handling parts, as you can see here, a lot of twists and turns and stuff. But in general, you're going to be more suited to a more powerful car.
yeah, I'll expect to see around almost as you look at the track, the left half of the track, there's a lot of bunching going up there as everyone sort of nettles for a position, not even to overtake, but nettles to sit in that position that when you hit the back straight, they can pretty much just put down the pedal, open up the throttle, and just let that power of the car speak by taking on those overtakes. So yeah, I expect around these turns and on the left of the map, so kind of like the first section is a lot of people just going to be sitting right in behind, making their little checks to see if they can do a short overtake, but waiting for that long straight to attack.
So we're just going to be on board with Math running in the Porsche 911. Comes over the line with 219. Edinburgh Lad just behind with a 218, so Edinburgh Lad takes pole for this one at the moment. Obviously we've got a lot of people to see come through, and you know what they've done for us is a really nice thing. They've gone nice and spread out for us. Look at that, we can see them all come over the line one by one and really have a view at what's going on. So Steedy's next to come over the line, as you can see, a little bit over the times that have been set already, but certainly a bank a lap from him at 2:24, so that sees him in third position of this qualifying. Next up is Dorsey running in the Nissan GTR. He's running out on intermediate tyres, so that's going to play a factor here as well in terms of what times people can get. People are going out on the dry on intermediate tyres, trusting the forecast and hoping that works in their favour. Assassin and Kenobi just behind. And you've got Rabid coming through as well, setting a time there of 2:19.9. He's run himself on medium tyres, so that's an interesting choice there from Rabid. It's going to be interesting to see how that pans through. So next race, Edinburgh Lad has picked himself a penalty. He's going to have to grind that off before this end of this lap for it to count. LGBT Baron is our second place, in second position there, with a 2:18.8, so, and just been beaten there by Ash, coming with a 2:17.6, so Ash is currently sitting in pole position. Rabid got a 2:19.9 as well, so any big surprises there for you, Al, at the moment?
I mean, at the moment, I think there's a couple of drivers up there who I don't know too much about. Baron and Ash, I think mainly are two of the unknown drivers for me in this race. So not really a surprise, but again, not really expected. I think Edinburgh Lad's doing pretty well up top. So he's.
Unfortunately, he's picked himself up apparently, but he's got himself a good position.
Like, I know he's got it in him. I've seen him drive last week. He did some good laps, did some good runs. So he has that potential to be up, challenging for the podium places. It's just again down to consistency. Can he hold?
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, I think my real surprise is not seeing either Legion or Rabbit up there in the top three.
Got Webson's unfortunately carrying a pen himself, just about to come over the line. Math. Has he managed to improve? No, he's down to 2:26. He's running on soft tyres. Bart's just going to look on board with him as he comes through the end of the back straight, El Rouge. Currently not putting a fast lap yet, so he's currently on his first fast lap. Remember, Bart's come in second place a couple of times. He's chosen to opt for the intermediate tyres as well, so interesting to see if that pans out for him. Legion's chosen under the softs. He's still on his out lap, so we'll come back to him shortly.
Yeah, well, I think remember Bart's. There wasn't anything spectacular in the qualifying. Very flew under the radar quite nicely there, but then when it came to a race, really pulled it out of the bag, and was able to, when it mattered, basically show the talent and show what they could do.
Making a slight improvement there, letting the faster car come past. Well, a little 40 was there, and he's just come back in now. And Dorsey is out. 2:26 is his best, but again he's running on those intermediate tyres, so you can see a big difference here between the guys who have gone on the wet and the intermediates. Really filling out the back line here, so it's really about tyre choice. People made the conscious choice to start a bit further back, and as you can expect, the people who have gone for the dry compounds are filling out the top end of the grid. So it'll be very interesting to see what happens going into race one.
Yeah, I mean it's again, like I said earlier, it's going to come down to luck of those who did choose to go out on the intermediates.
But Lad's still keeping a nice time there. He's actually 3 temps up on his best. It's going to be... Oh, he's pushed himself maybe a little bit too far there. Might have lost a bit of time, or even get himself a track pen. Pardon me. Yeah, he picked himself up a track pen going a little bit too far through the exit on there. Got Math and Webson's just come to the end of their laps now. Again, sitting at the top here, going to sit on board with Webson's as he goes over the line. Math runs himself wide there, might have picked himself up a pen on that one. Might make it hard to make that lap stick, as you can see, going on him there. Webson's trying to get through as fast as he can. He tried to grind that off and it didn't see an improvement, unfortunately, for his time, so he's going to have to go out. So it's very interesting.
Yeah, I mean, it's quite a shaken up leaderboard this week so far. The qualifying not at all what you'd expect or even anticipated from last week's races.
So I think a lot of it's got a lot of due to the tyre choices that people are making out there. We are going to let this run because this started about 1 minute into the time at the bottom right, so we're going to let this run for another minute before we close it out. Legion has actually taken himself the fastest time just before the end, so he sits out in pole position, running out on the soft tyres. But we are going to call the quali to an end there. So allow me to just pop you guys on whole screen for a moment whilst I do the necessaries, and we will let everyone know.
I mean, yeah, whether or not the rain comes, the weather has already affected the race in its own way by almost having people be cautious by putting on the intermediate tyres, and those who have thrown a bit of caution to the wind, and in this case the rain, have put on the softs and are actually reaping the benefits in the qualifying. But will the weather hold out long enough that they can kind of coast through race one, where I think it will probably matter most? Because if they're stuck on their softs and it starts raining in the sprint, then I think there's going to be a few issues there. Whereas, obviously, with the second race, the endurance, they can actually change their tyres. Maybe cost them a few seconds, but they can grind it back. So it's all going to come down to this. What was it? 45% chance of rain in the qualifying.
Yeah.
Or not in the qualifying, in the sprint. But then again, I mean, even the rain just makes the track slippy. So I mean, if you've got someone who's a good handler or in the right car, then the tyres may not even matter too much in the end.
So
but yeah, it changes up a lot.
Qualifying result. Oh, thank you for the distraction for me. I'm just going to poll up and hopefully I've got it all lined up correctly this week. So qualifying results are up there. You can see. Starting at the back, we have Assassin Zablaza going to be running out at the back. He's on the intermediate tyres. 230 was his best. Rabid 13th, 219.3 on mediums. Stefan on wets with a 227. DJ on intermediates with a 226. Dorsey in 10th with a 226 on intermediates. You can see a lot of these intermediate tyres at the back. Kenobi on inters 225. Then you've got Bart's in 8th. Intermediates 224. Steedy, he's on the softs. He got a 224. Math on softs got a 219. Now look at that, LGBT Baron on intermediate tyres in 5th place is 218. That's a great time on intermediate tyres. And allow me just to very quickly flick this over to the other picture if I can. There we go, and this is the top end. And at the top, we have Webson's in 4th place on soft tyres with 218. Edinburgh Lad in 3rd place with a 218. And Ash in 2nd place with a 217. And Legion in pole position with a 216. So you can see a lot of soft tyres at the top there, as you would expect. But a really interesting grid. Show your thoughts on that, Al, whilst I get the grid order set up for the guys.
Yeah, I mean, Legion did pull out in the end and kind of sat where we thought he'd get to, and
on the soft tyres as well, though. So you know, if it pours down next race, he's going to have a bit of work to do.
That's it. I mean, the people those sitting at the back on the intermediates are now doing whatever they can to make that sky open up, so they can gain their advantage back. And those are on the soft are getting their hair dryers out, pointing it in the air, and just trying to dry out that sky. So it's. I mean, that the grid, it's what you'd expect, not necessarily from the races themselves, but from the tyre selection and a mixture between the races and the tyre selection. So it's going to be an interesting race, but if it all comes down to this weather, if it holds, expect to see the top half of the grid littered with S's, and if it doesn't open up and does start raining, then they'll be sliding all over the place and dropping very, very quickly throughout this race.
Good.
So I mean, luckily for me, being British, I can talk.
I'll call out a top 3 for us.
Oh, this is now I'm going to have to start predicting the weather.
Well, okay, all right. Call out a top 3 if it's dry and a top 3 if it's wet, and that will kill enough time for me to do what I need to do. So.
Well, you know me, I love talking about the weather.
That's it.
I say if it's dry, then I'm going to be expecting Legion to definitely be up there. Sticking him as a number 1. I've been impressed by Ash. Ash has done well in this qualifying, so I'd expect 2. And number 3, this will be the tough one. But someone who's been always again thrown under the radar and has lived up there, Websons.
Websons, okay.
I'm going to have Websons as number 3 again. If it's wet, then I would have to remember who's on the the intermediate tyres. You know what? I'm gonna because I can't remember who's on the softs, who's on the intermediates. I'm gonna start picking names out of a hat,
randomly plotting them out.
You know what? The Scottish Love Rain, so Edinburgh Lad's going to be up number 1.
Yeah.
If it starts raining, number 2, I will stick as. You know, I believe I'll stick as Dorsey.
Okay.
At number 2, and Legion, why not? He's at number 3. He's going to sneak it with the soft tyres, even though it's raining.
Right. Well, I think we're just about to start the race off now. So thanks for filling that in for us out as we just boot up, and we're just going to flip over just as it kicks off, and wish all the drivers out there good luck with the race. As we now come over to the first of 2 races tonight. So this is our 15-minute sprint. So no fuel tyres to worry about here, just out and out sprint, and it looks like it's in the rain now. The heavens have opened. So you've got some boys out there on soft tyres, not going to have a lot of grip, going to have a choice to make. Are they going to pit during it's a race where you have no fuel tyres, so you have no reason to pit other than to now get onto the right tyres. It's going to be a very interesting one.
Well, that's it. I mean, it's going to now come down to the time penalties picked up in the pits. That gap will open up, but we may see some of the drivers trying to stick it out on the super softs and slide around a bit, which again then could start causing collisions.
Oh, looks like Assassin caused a little bit of the wall, a little bit of a mess up there. Gonna have to. Those are people, I believe, all on the incorrect tyres. So we're going to watch that back. I'd snap that as a replay, but we'll stay on board with people for now as we just keep an eye. Looks like really tough conditions out there for everybody, as you can tell. Struggling to keep it on the course.
Even
come up now.
Even with the intermediates, this looks quite a heavy rain. So they may be flipping around a bit, and it might be one heavies.
We're interested to see what happened to LGBT Baron there, because I noticed that they, were on the intermediate tyres. I don't know whether they caught a knock or something like that. But we've still got Legion sitting out on top on the soft tyres, and it's now just a case for these boys. Got a choice to make, haven't they? Do you try and hold the race out? As you know, Legion, very experienced driver there, really struggling to keep these guys on the soft, and this is kind of what we expect to see. You know, when it's a forecast, you don't know what's going to happen. A lot of these guys didn't know if they're coming into a dry race, and you kind of have to make a gamble. And now these guys have got themselves caught in some rain.
It's the one part of any sport that is no % skill. Everything else, you can be the best driver in the world, the most skilled at any handling any corner. But if you just guess wrong, then you're gonna struggle, and you may lose out because of it. So we'll see because if this pack closes up and there are some of the racers on the intermediates who really start pushing those top 3, then they may have to consider swapping to the intermediates, taking that time knock, to then start really pushing themselves and compete. Or if they can control the race from the front, they can drive a bit slower and hopefully start to reduce the amount of slide that they go into just by reducing the speed.
One thing we know about the forecast is the forecast has been reduced for race 2, so there's a higher chance of a dry race for race 2. So this is the next question. If you're out there and thinking, okay, I'm on soft tyres, it's going to be a really tough race for me, but do I bank on actually holding this race out as best I can on the soft tyres because it doesn't look like it's an easy job for the guys on the intermediates either out there, or on the wets or anything. It looks like it's being a pretty tough race for everyone out there. It looks like Legion comes through the line now, and it looks like people are just trying to make little moves in here, but really challenging to get out there as Math now is sitting up on Kenobi, trying to get that move done going down into turn 1. Is he going to make a move here? Again, really challenging to get these moves done in the rain. You've got to make sure you get that braking just right, especially as he's out there on soft tyres and Kenobi's out there on inters. Yeah, it's definitely made a really, really interesting mix before. I've not seen on GT Sport this kind of angle of, coming into a wet race where you potentially might have the wrong tyres on. Would it be something you hate, Al, if you were put in this situation?
I probably would, if I was sitting out in the softs. I mean, I'd be one of those who would, if there's a chance of rain that is kind of above 30%, I would always stick on inters, because I know that if I go out in the softs, I'm slipping and sliding on a normal track anyway. So if there's a chance of rain,
Ash has just lost it there. You can see he was trying to hold the car, got himself up to P2, then really, really dashed himself off. Legion absolutely knows what he's doing with this car around here, soft tyres in the Lambo, and pulling himself out 10 seconds ahead. So I think he's, outside of spinning and making his car explode, I don't know what else he's going to do to be able to lose this race.
That's it. I mean, that's when the experience of some drivers come in. I mean, the likes of Legion is a top quality driver, and he's proving it by opening up a lead in soft tyres in the rain. And the whole bit I said about you can be the most skilled driver in the world, but you'll suffer in the rain is gone out the window.
There are some people who are just at a point where you know what, they can just smack a car around the track. You can put them in. We could slap them in a paper bag with wheels on, and you'll probably find a way to get it around the track. That's just some people have that natural. Well, I don't know if it's natural ability or a case of just putting a lot of work in, or maybe just a combination, a lot of the two.
That's it. I mean, if you are experienced and have done this before and know how to handle a car on soft tyres in the rain, then you can sort of figure out a little game plan there and hedge your bets by saying, all right, possibly we're not going to win the race, but we can go high. We can go high up and either get as many points as we can, or rank higher in the next race. Where if it goes dry, then we'll be all right. And I think, some people have hedged their bets there, and
has someone gone into pit? Edinburgh lad's gone into pit. I think he's really must be struggling on the soft tyres. He's chosen to swap over to perhaps some intermediates or something. And Stefan's now struggled to hit his apex there, and he's got Kenobi behind him, and Stefan Cliffs is on full heavy wets, Kenobi's on intermediate, so it's a bit of a tyre difference there. Be interested to see how that race pans out, because I think these boys have been pretty well matched from what I've been seeing in the open lobbies and stuff, so it'd be good to see how this one pans out between Stefan and Kenobi. Webson's in good position again, pretty consistent through this, and you can see Rabbit, who started out really far back, really working his way through this grid. He's the only person out there on the medium tyres, and he's found some a pace in them.
That's it. I mean, you'll now start to see the benefit of someone who's just finding it a little bit easier, as Rabbit is kind of clawing his way back bit by bit, just because he's finding it just slightly easier on every turn, which, I mean, as you go around, even on lap 3, slowly adds up. And I think Edinburgh Lad has made a good decision just to go out, swap the tyres and just try and pull something back.
Maybe he's thinking about the next race, or maybe he didn't actually mean to go into pits, because it looks, I don't know what tyres he was on before, but he's on soft tyres now, so it's going to be interesting to see. Obviously, hedging his bets on the next race being a dry, maybe he's just putting all of his chips, all of his cards on on the table for that race, thinking he can do it. But it'd be interesting. I'll have a chat with him afterwards and find out what the rationale was behind that. LG, to be Baron, new joiner of his dog, actually gets a move done nicely on Ash there, that we just caught. Just sort of found a little bit of room that Ash had left on that inside, and really nicely done.
Yeah, after a bit of a sticky start from Baron, they're working their way back up quite nicely, just to gain a bit of positioning. As you can see, I think Ash is really struggling here with the weather. And as we saw, saw Steve there just kind of fishtailing a little bit.
Losing a little bit. And even DJ there losing a bit of the rear, just really struggling to hold it in the rain here, isn't he?
Yeah, I think every driver is kind of now, or most of them in this back part of the grid are finding themselves in the same boat, really. Just fishtailing a little bit, going around corners, and I mean it made the overtake from Baron even more impressive, just with the control they had, and having to deal with Ash kind of sliding a little bit.
So you got Staffan still holding out in second place. You got quite a lot of close racing here between LGB Baron, Bart's, LGB Baron. We know we can put in a very fast lap on the wet tyres. You saw that is the highest place on the intermediate. So definitely, after an early bit of pain we saw, which actually we can skip back now and have a little look at that now. The race is kind of plateaued out a little bit, if it's still stored, if I remember how to actually do it. Doesn't look like I pressed the button, so no, we can't go back and watch that one, unfortunately. But yeah, it looks like they had a bit of a spin out at the start, and it's really made it interesting. Held back a few drivers, and obviously must be frustrating to be caught up in that, but I think it's, you're in the wet in turn one, and I'm sure it's kind of inevitable really that you're going to get a couple of people fall victim to a little bit offside onside, really.
Yeah, especially when you're starting off the race, you're going from that stop start to quite high torque, coming out of trying to get up to speed, and your tyres are just going on this wet track fast and fast without actually going anywhere. I mean, you lose a bit of control, so there's no surprise that on turn one that we saw a bit of a spin out, and I'm assuming it was just a domino effect. That one either clip of a wall, one slight spin out, one fishtail clipped another driver, and unfortunately, if you're just in the wrong place at that time, then you got caught out. But it doesn't seem to have affected too many, as I think people have dropped a few positions because of it.
Looks like Rabbit's dropped a position here as well. Last time we were on board with Rabbit, he was in 6th, and now he's dropped down to 7th place. So a little work for him to rebuild on that. Baron, really pushing up against Bart's now. Bart's again another one who's, we saw really in the top half of the race, a 2nd and 4th place I think Bart's got last week, and is really struggling to cope with this one in the rain. So it'll be interesting to see if he can bring the goods in. Enjoy. It's caught a little bit of the rear there. You saw just a little bit, almost went to a spin there, but managed to save it really well. LGBT Baron, first time race with us. What I've seen, really clean, really neat, and really fast as well. So welcome to the league, I suppose. Yeah, a very, very good, confident driver already. I mean, had a spin out, but either got caught up or got caught up in the melee at the beginning, and it's just they've sat back and they've focused on their driving and have pulled out 2 impressive overtakes that we've seen, and working their way back up the grid. So it's a very good, confident start from Baron, and hopefully we get to see a lot more of them throughout the season. Absolutely.
Very good from Maf just sitting here up in 6th. Didn't have the greatest week last week, but doing pretty well in the rain.
It sounds like Ash is having a couple of issues that he's trying to change to wet tyres, but he's struggling to. So I'm not sure if that's a setting issue there, but we might have to have a conversation with him about that one and have a look. But we're still on board now with this battle between Maf and Rabid. Rabid making his move now up on the inside. For some reason something's happened with my keyboard and I can't change the view for us all, so we're just going to have to do it in this cinematic view. I will back out and come back in a second to try and fix that.
Yeah, Rabbit's held the overtake there quite well. Maf tried to counter on that second corner, but I think Rabbit had positioned himself perfectly just to cut in front of them, both apexes. Follow the Thalweg if we're going into our river terms, or just the out to win.
Just see if I can change view. For some reason I can on this, but I can't on my keyboard, so technical issues, folks. We're going to sit on board and see if we can go back on board maybe with who's these guys in a little battle here. LGBT Baron alongside Bart's trying to combat for 7th place and possibly maybe try and push up on Rabbit as well.
LGBT closing Baron that gap
in the Peugeot RCZ. You about to say something there, Brad?
Yeah, absolutely. closing that gap on Rabbit. As soon as they went on the overtake on Bart, Baron is just closing that gap down on Rabbit, absolutely basically clawing in anyone in front of them. So this race isn't over for Baron.
Definitely not. I'm pushing up to 6th, and like I said, after that early incident, it could be looking at a contender here really for what could be a potentially quite fast racer going into the endurance race.
That's it. I mean, Legion is just sitting in a world of his own up top. But if someone was sitting with him challenging, then
it looks like P1 to 5 is pretty secure here. You look at this. You got Legion 13 seconds ahead, Steph 4 seconds ahead of the person in front, Kenobi another 4 seconds, Webson's 5 seconds. Dorsey's just gone in, making a choice now to come off his intermediate tyres. So I was about to say he had quite a comfortable gap there, but he's making the choice before the end of the race, come in on his intermediate. So interesting to see where he comes out. Field is quite spread out, so don't think he's going to be coming out at the very back, but willing to sacrifice the points in order. Is that what you'd be doing? Would you be doing that, going in when you've got? I mean, Dorsey's. I mean, and this is no disrespect for Dorsey. I think I'm quite evenly matched in pace with Dorsey, and I'd be quite happy to finish in P5 in this race. I think that's me doing pretty well. So it's a surprise to see Dawes do that. He's going to choose the endurance race over this, which was pretty, as I was just making a point there, pretty assured result. Looks like Rabbit's built that gap as well. And it looks like, have we lost? LGBT Baron's gone as well, so a few people making this choice to pit, end of the race, anticipating a dry race to finish us out, and thinking, you know what, that's what's going to be better for me overall, is actually getting a better race too. What's your thought on that, Strat?
I was going to say for Dorsey, that was a smart move, I reckon. Even though he was sitting in a great position up in the middle of the pack, I think he had a good enough gap where he could pit and not come out too far behind, so still possibly on the soft tyres. If he backs himself in these wet conditions, can make up a few places even, and get back to maybe 1, 2, 3 positions off where he was, and then have the advantage over anyone still on the intermediates or mediums in the if it's drive for the next race. But Baron surprised me because LGBT Baron was doing really well in the wet, clawing back a lot of ground, and I would have expected them to try and climb up a bit further.
Now on our final lap, sorry to interrupt you, but we're now on our final laps now, so anyone going over the line now will be finishing off the race. So looks like we've got Ash coming over the line now to. It looks like it's looked like he was having tyre issues trying to get onto his wet tyres, and he just couldn't do it. So something I'm certainly going to ask him about and have a look into. And then we have Legion confirming his first position as he comes over the line now. And Stefan, great race there from Stefan, securing himself P2. Comfortable 5-second gap between himself and the person behind. And Kenobi, try not to lose it there as he comes out through there, followed by Webson's P4. Good run there from Webson's, good for him and the season as well. Rabbit as well, great run from him, medium tyres, held it out really well, climbed up a few places, started at the back, so well done to Rabbit there. Math, I think he started towards the top, and consider again running out on soft tyres. P6, very good run from him. Bart's probably be a little bit disappointed to see himself in P7 after that, but he seems like in the wet really struggled on either the car or the tyre compound. I'm not sure what it was that was holding Bart's back there, Al.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen what Bart's can do in the dry, and I guess this is just seeing what a driver can do in the wet. Some who've hedged their bets and got it wrong, some who've got it right, and yeah, I think Bart's won't be. Of course, any driver who's going to be hitting below where they expect to be are going to be disappointed. But if I were Bart's, I would be sitting there. Not happy, but not disappointed. Kind of going. I mean, I did what I could. I didn't do too badly, but I didn't do as well as I probably could have. So just putting it to the back of my mind and going, I'm not in a terrible place for the start of the next race.
Definitely. So that is the end of the first race. So congratulations all drivers and everyone who took part. Gonna especially congratulate Legion as well for a very comfortable pole position and win as well. So congratulations to the win for him. And I'm going to flip you guys just over to the whole screen whilst I get the results up, and we'll have a quick skip through the results, and then we'll crack on with race 2. So let's have a quick look through the results and see how we did there. So we have Legion in first place, Stefan in second, Kenobi in third, Webson's fourth, Rabid in fifth, Math in sixth, Bart's in seventh, Steedy in eighth, Dorsey in ninth, Edinburgh Lad 10th, LGBT Baron in 11th, Assassin Sablaza in 12th, and we'll just scroll down. Now we can see we had DJ in 13th and Ash in 14th. So those are the results confirmed there. And now give us your thoughts over what you saw in that race and kind of what happened there really.
I mean, yeah, it's obviously a tough one to pick out because some drivers got caught out with the weather and some just didn't quite drive to their potential. But a very, very comfortable race from Legion. Went out on the softs, they stayed on the softs and absolutely dominated the field. So, I mean, you've got to just stand up and applaud that skill there from Legion. A very, very well deserved pole position. And the rest of the drivers, I mean, it was a lot of them. They did well in the wet conditions. A few slips. I mean, Ash would be disappointed. But I mean, I think by the looks of what the driving was like for Ash, they would be just going, well, it was the weather. I was doing well, but I got caught out in the rain. It just wasn't one of those days. So I think, yeah, from 1 to 14, I think every driver should be not disappointed in their or wherever they finished in their race. It's just impressive that they actually managed to complete on the soft, some of them.
Who would you say was the driver of the race? Who do you give the driver of the race award to? Al's a patented driver of the race award, which I'm definitely going to come up with a jingle for.
I mean, I look forward to hearing that jingle. I mean, I always love an underdog, so I try to shy away from any winner, but it's hard not to pick Legion.
Yeah.
On the wrong tires, even starting from pole on the wrong tires, just completely dominated a race in the rain, and I think he made it look so easy. So I've got to say, my driver of that one is Legion, but I do want to give a special little sub medal to Baron.
Yeah,
for coming back after that slip and continuing to push through the field, and then making the decision at the end to pit.
Definitely. I'll just get communicating with the guys there, letting them know that the next race will be starting up in 5 minutes. So I'm just going to confirm those results in and add them to the standings, and we can talk about how that kind of shakes us up going into the next race. So, Al, going to give you a topic to throw out there. If you were in this race going into the next round, would you rather be on a dry track with a wet tyre or a wet tyre with a dry track?
Ooh. I think I'd go for. I mean, it depends where I'm positioned, really. Because I'd know this is an endurance, so I could go out and I'd push. So I'd rather go on a wet track with dry tires. So then I knew I could actually start pushing myself and seeing what positions I could start to get and hold, whilst maintaining a bit of traction in the softs while on a wet track. And if it wasn't working for me, then I could run it for a few laps, pit, go onto the intermediates, and know that I've got a bit more distance than everyone else to kind of make my way up. So by the time they're starting to pit, I can make up a few positions and hopefully get myself back in the race. So I'd rather start on dry tyres than a wet track.
Dry tyres than a wet track, yeah?
Yeah. Because
that makes sense.
Yeah, if you do it on the other way around, I think then you're losing a lot of speed on a track where you should be getting where speed is everything, really. Whereas in a wet track, there's a bit of skill, there's a bit of having to take it a bit slower anyway. So being a bit slower doesn't affect you too much, but on a dry track, if you're slow, everyone else is just going to shoot past you.
And yeah.
So yeah, I think
you're out of it.
That's it. I think you'll see a lot more people trying to hedge their bets with soft tyres in the rain than they would be for intermediates in the dry.
Forgive me, folks, for the delay. I'm just putting the finishing touches to all of this and getting all the settings ready for the next race. So Al is going to continue to keep you entertained.
I'll try my best. a few of these drivers now have had the experience under the belt of their first endurance race. We did see kind of a few.
Are you expecting to see people learn from it? Who, you know what I mean? Because we really saw, I think it was Bart's last week, we saw really suffer from seemingly not having a great strategy.
Yeah, I mean, we'll definitely see people start to learn and grow and feel their own unique strategy, because it's not a one size fits all of this is how you do it. Every driver will have their own tactic that you'll start to kind of see personalize over the season, and don't expect huge leaps and bounds every week, but I do expect a bit of improvement from some of the drivers who did make those kind of little mistakes, but were costly in the end, from last week. And for them, it's about trying to improve on the endurance and not necessarily going, right, let's see if I can podium, let's see if I can place, let's see if I can win this. It's more about trying to improve on what they did before. Let's see if I can manage my tyres better. Let's see if I can go round until X lap with X amount of fuel left. It's now starting to, in these early parts of the seasons, for these people who've never done the endurance races before, it's hitting these targets for themselves instead of racing, and eventually they'll start to find themselves climbing up naturally without even realizing it.
Fantastic. Thank you for the fill in there, Al. Most appreciated. I am going to very quickly just get up and pop in the standings as they are at the end of this race, so we can have a little look and see what they are, as I've just worked them out on the back of a fag packet like a true professional.
Some quick maths.
So let me just pop that up, and we are going to have a quick look, and hopefully I've done this correctly and it all feeds through like the way the technology intended it to. And let's have a look and see if we've got the correct standings. And we do. It has update. Look at that. So we have Rabid still leading out with 44 points going into the next race. Websons and Stephen Cliff now drawing in second place with 41. Bart's with 38, still in fourth place. Kenobi moving up to fifth in 37. Dawes with 29. Ash with 25 in seventh. Got DJ 1 point behind in 8th, Edinburgh Lad in 9th place, Math in 10th, Steedy moving up there to 11th, in joint place with Legion, 16 points as well. Draco and Red haven't turned in today, so they are still in, dropping down now to 13th place. Assassins in 15th, and then LGBT Baron, who's just joined us, is in 16th place there. So yeah, it's going to be an interesting one. Can Rabid make any damage here and hold off really your races here between Rabid, Webson, Stefan, Bart's and Kenobi really for the championship at the moment? Those are those 5 people that you want to be keeping an eye out going into the next race. So I am going to put you guys quickly again on the whole screen once I quickly set the grid order, and then we're going to get this race underway. So apologies for the delays there. This is still a work in progress how we get this production done. The grid order should be a lot quicker for us to put together, because I already have all the information I need in front of me, which is always part of the problem now, isn't it? Information. The flow of data. I'm trying to give you like a chance to talk about the flow of data now for a bit, so you can kill like 20 seconds.
Well, you know, the flow of data, very similar to the standings we see, can change a lot. Talking of the standings you've just seen, we must never forget that there's going to be drivers who pop in and pop out, so it's going to chop and change quite consistently throughout the season, as drivers, some can't make the races each week, some will join in a bit later. So always bear that in mind every time you look at the standings, that some of these drivers will have maybe 1 or 2 races kind of back on the others, and yeah, I mean, always going to be competitive. I think no matter where you're standing in the championship, it's always going to be competitive.
Yeah, definitely.
And yeah, just like the competitive data, it's everywhere. Back with the flow of water and data. See, full circle. There we go.
There we go.
Seamless,
well done, buddy.
Absolute seamless, like a circle. Once again,
segue.
This is why you bring me into these things. I can jump from the flow of data to water to standings, back to data and water.
I'm just going to wish the chaps good luck.
And I lead you perfect timings back into the races. So it's almost like I do this for a living.
And we're just going to kick this one off, and I'll put us on board, and we are now ready to watch a race out.
I'm excited. I wasn't expecting to watch a race today.
Yeah, well, this is what you get when you sign up.
This is the excitement of my Wednesdays.
So if you are watching the stream or either live or watching it back or anything, and you are interested in ever joining a race, feel free to jump in our Discord. We've got this league on the go, we've got a new league starting next week, and we've got another league starting after that, so a lot of leagues coming up. Feel free to get involved, jump in our Discord, say hello. Also run a lot of open lobbies as well, which are a mixed bag, I'll be honest. They're a mixed bag. They can be really fun, but obviously nature of open lobbies is anyone comes in, and sometimes you do get the occasional shit muncher out. That's just the nature of online gaming, eh?
That's it. I mean, anytime you've got any game online, you run the risk of these people. Let's see if we can get a cleaner first corner.
The rain not being a factor this time might hopefully get a bit cleaner through, as everyone looks like they get through. Currently on board with Edinburgh Lad, but we'll jump on board and see if we can get a good view of what's going on down at pitch level, which I know it's not a pitch, it's a circuit, but Edinburgh Lad giving Bart's a little bit of a love tap there, forcing him a little bit wide there. It looks like, although I did just see him drop off and concede him that position, looks like Legion got through there very quick, maybe a little bit too quick. He's dropped off and ground off his penalty now. Webston's gone up in second place, and Stefan in third, Kenobi in fourth. As we come down now, let's drop back a little bit, see if we can catch some of the action as we come through. You can see still a very, very tight race. Probably better if I look back a little bit and we can have a look over and see what's going on in front. So on board now with DJ. Sitting at the back of this one, LGBT Baron just in front. You can see someone's drifting himself a little bit wide, a few cars in front. A few of them going a few wide into the next turn. Dorsey found himself a little bit off there. He's now dropped back to 12. LGBT Baron's be able to move up. Steedy giving a little bit of a shake. A little bit of a bump kick there for Dorsey to get more involved, but very close a racing hero. Yeah, I mean it's very, very bumpy right here in this this part of the field. I mean, I don't know if it's the tyre differences or people just trying to drive aggressively, get these positions, but I mean a lot of contact in this first lap around here. So I definitely want to get to the bottom of just why the drivers were kind of grinding. If it was just everyone was pushing themselves a bit. Kenobi's car just flew in the air. Don't know if you saw that, Al. I saw the tail of Kenobi fly through the air. Real life physics, this. So that's what we come here for. And Zablaza's going quite wide up there at the top. You can see here we've got quite a lot of close racing here with Ash, Rabid, Kenobi and Assassin Zablaza. Assassin Zablaza having an absolute blinder here. Really help up through the field. In the last sort of 30 seconds, he's gone up from about 7th to 3rd. A little bit there, up a little bit as well. So a bit tough for everybody going through. So yeah, these two packs, so the chasing pack and the backpack, individually a lot of bumping, but there are some real winners here. And Zablaza in that top pack must have gone through everything quite cleanly, because out he popped. So a couple of people going into pit already, getting themselves off their wet tyres, not feeling like they're able to compete. So interesting to go in straight away. I'd probably at least do a few laps and run the fuel tank out a little, then go through like a fuel save run afterwards. So Legion not as comfortable as the last race, but sitting out a good second and a half out in front. Webson's trying to give chase. In the Beetle, currently on the soft tyre, so they're both running on the soft tyre, so they're definitely on their right tyre choice. Assassin Zablaza doing really well up in P3 there. Fantastic to see him come through, as Ash actually is coming around on the outside now, and he does his little bunny hop as well, as they both unghost in front of each other. And looks like Ash has picked himself up a little bit of a pen there as well. Yeah, so it looks like Zablaza and Ash are just going to be almost swapping positions constantly, with the front one getting a penalty, having to drop back a little bit, grinding it down to be overtaken, and then vice versa. Baron making that move on the inside of Rabbit there, getting that done. Trying to keep it nice and neat. Rabbit getting a really good exit there, but a little bit too much traffic on the road. Going to give Kenobi a little bit of a kick. See if he can sort of maybe put Kenobi in front and hold Baron back a little bit, but it doesn't seem to work out. Baron's got that move done, and looks like Kenobi's drifted off as well there, maybe pushing himself a little bit too hard through that corner, and has gone completely off. Where has Kenobi gone? Where has Kenobi gone? He just sort of fell off a little bit there. Not sure what happened to him. Maybe just misjudged that corner a little bit. Now sees himself a lot further back than where I'm sure he'd like to be, down in P12. Back up the top. So it's really Webson's and Legion holding up the tip of Webson's with a solid 12-second lead here. And providing there's nothing really big happening strategy-wise here, it could be a really comfortable race here for Webstons, as he's still reeling in Legion. I still hedge my bets on Legion holding out and going for a win here, but at least he's putting on a bit of a race for us here, Al.
Yeah, I mean, very, very surprised Webson's he stuck to the back of Legion and went with him as Legion climbed up. But I think the experience of Legion will pull him through on this one. But if Webson just, I think, sit where he is and keep doing what he's doing, there's always a possibility that something can happen and he can overtake Legion. So I think if I were Webson, I wouldn't be pushing too hard to try and overtake Legion. I'd just be sitting where I was, trying to make sure that gap behind me doesn't close and trying to stick with Legion as much as possible.
Yeah, absolutely. I think yeah, he can try and keep up with him. It looks like Legion's pulled away a little bit, but as long as he's keeping him a couple of seconds, it's a 13-lap race. Looking at a half an hour long race here, so could be a pretty interesting one to see if he could potentially cause an upset here and cause a bit of surprise. Ash, I think if he can finish this race in P3, especially considering that he started the race at the back here and he had such a horrible time in the first race, I think it would do him a world of good if he can hold this third position, make the strategy work for him.
This is just what we saw with the weather. We saw Ash have a great qualifying, and then an awful I don't think he'll mind me saying it, sprint race, and now back in the dry weather with the right tyres, again proving what they can do.
So I think they've had Math unfortunately drop out, and might have been a connection issue there, but he will not be finishing off this race.
And that is a shame. Math was doing pretty well.
It's been since the start. Usually when this happens, normally because someone's had a disconnect, which is again unfortunate symptom of online a competition now. You would know of all the online competitions that you take part in.
In all of them, I mean, the internet just hates me in general, so I can definitely sympathise.
Welcome aboard, mate.
Can't go into this dark room, it's awful in here. I think we saw the same with Zablaza last week, who dropped out the first race but made it back for the second, and possibly again with Math today, so it might be a recurring feature every week.
So, we hope not. Rabid and DJ embroiled in a little bit of a scrap here for P8. Both of these two are on the medium tyres, so from what I remember, Rabid started the race on the medium tyres. As you saw when we put the tyre settings up, fuel wear's not really anything to, fuel depletion's not really anything to worry about in this race. You might have to chuck a little bit of fuel in at some point, but not really anything that you're going to worry about hugely. It's going to be the tyres, this one. Tyre wear's up to times 11, so you're going to really see these tyres being worn out. Really by lap 5 or 6, we're going to start seeing them start to lose the tyres a little bit, as it looks like DJ's going for that move on the inside on Rabid. Looks like he's got the pace in that RCZ, but is Rabid going to get the exit speed? It doesn't look like he's got it, unfortunately. Rabid running out in the Porsche 911 with what I must say was a lovely ZFS livery, which I made, so that's why I said it was really nice.
Well, I mean, I was going to say before I knew it was you, it was a very, very nice livery, and whoever made it should be proud.
Oh, you charmer, I tell you. Check out the top again. Legion still holding out on top. Webson's a second out, but they really have solidified the top here. Webson's really having a great race here. 15 seconds out, these guys at the top, so really holding out strong. Ash, I think his gap's reduced a little bit, but look at that tyre wear on Ash. Look at the bottom left there, Al, how much tyre wear is compared to Dawes there. So if I flip between the two, do you want to know the reason for that?
Is he coming from the back and having to push too hard and turning a bit too sharply?
A bit of that, but what will be more to do with that is I know that Ash races on a pad. He places on his dual shock pad, whereas Dawes he races on a wheel. And that's one advantage that, people always talk about this, about the pad races versus the wheel races, who's got the advantage, some people say it's the pad races and it's a pay to win kind of thing, because better equipment you get, the better racer you become, which I don't think is completely true. LGBT Baron had a bit of a slip there. We're going to have a little look at that one and see if we can find out what happens. Let's have a little look, jump on board with LGBT Baron, see if we can identify whether it was just a little slip from themselves or whether they took a knock from behind. So I think, just pushing himself a little bit too hard, lost it on the tyres, and that's really unfortunate to see. Unlucky on that one. Let me just get back to the race. When
you clip the edge, the back edge of, and your tyres just start to spin out underneath you, it's hard it's a slight error that causes, almost quite a big reaction. So yeah, feel for Baron there, but
you can see the tyres now become a real issue for Ash as he actually goes into pit. I think he's really struggling on these soft tyres. He's going to probably go and put himself on some medium, see if he can hold out the rest on a set of medium tyres. Webson's as well, looks like you can tell who's a pad driver and who's not. It looks like Webson's a pad driver. Legion's also either really hammering his wheel about or he's on pad as well. So you could be equally as fast on pad as you can on wheel. I know some of the very even higher tier drivers drive on their pad. You think there's certain advantages to it in the sense of you can get from one extreme to the other, so you can get from left steer full lock to right steer full lock really quickly, much quicker than you could on a wheel. So it means that you can, if you can get it right, the movement you can get from moving your car one way to another is very quick, whereas on a wheel you can do it much smoother. That's why in general, when you compare pad drivers versus wheel drivers, you'll find, look at those tyres. God, Assassin's Blaster really got some dead tyres at the rear of his car now. Still going up for a move on ZFS DJ. Moving up on the outside. Is he going to make that stick? He's going to lose the rear end. As I said, those tyres really going to be a struggle for him. He's going to have to really get himself in soon, or is he going to really be in some troubles? As you can see there, Al, really challenging for him to keep hold of the tyres.
Yeah, he was sitting up on third for a bit, but yeah, that tyre wear, you can see every single corner.
And that
is fighting for his life. Yeah,
I was watching there. He was trying to hold his position with Rabbit, trying to hold that inside, and just completely outbroke himself. But sorry, Al, what are you trying to say there, buddy?
We were seeing he was leading up to this. Every single turn, he was just sort of fishtailing out a bit. But again, this is something that I don't want to speak for Assassin's Blazer. But if they're a newer driver who hasn't done as much of the endurance racing, this is a great learning point for them.
Definitely.
To be able to see, right, like I need to really keep an eye on these tyres, maybe push myself a bit softer around these corners, and if I start to see them going beyond this point, I just need to bite the bullet and pit.
Well,
otherwise,
if you look at that rear left tyre, there's nothing left on it. I don't know how he's even how he's keeping that on track at all. I have no idea. Which he's not, as you can see. So he's really misjudged this one. I think I said this to you last week, how you can adjust the brake bias whilst you're driving the car very quickly. So your brake bias is basically when you put the foot down, do you want more pressure applied to the front of the car or the rear of the car, like the front tyres, the rear tyres. So I'm looking at this race, and if he perhaps put his brake bias towards the front of the car, he would have preserved the rear tyres a little bit more and maybe got a bit of a neater lap, because the tyre would have been a little bit more evenly spread. Because you can see his front right tyre has only got half worn, but now his back left is completely shut, and he's got to be going into pit here surely. Yeah, he's going to get those changed. Get yourself some medium tyres on, mate, and get yourself out there. Webson's still, he's kind of gone the reverse way of this one. He's losing the fronts a little bit more than the rears, but you know what? He's still getting a consistent lap time, holding up with Legion very well. And Dorsey currently in P3. He's actually look how well he's conserved those tyres. Like I said, this race is a tyres race. And each of these endurance races is going to be a slightly different test hour. It's not always going to be, this was your tyres. We might find next week it's going to be a real big test on how you do with your fuel and how you manage with your fuel. Or it might find one week it's a test of trying to combine them both. So really keen on this series to make sure it's not just always trying to test the same thing over and over again now.
I think that's what's great. It'll help the newer drivers, especially, kind of almost throwing them in the deep end where they have to keep an eye on everything, but eventually they'll start to learn. But looking at Dawes' tyres, that's an impressive. I
know Rabbit's also a wheel driver, and actually look at that. He's gone out on medium tyres. I think he knew what he was doing when he went on those medium tyres. He knew the tyre wear was so heavy on the start of this race too, that if he could perform okay on the sprint race and the qualifier, which he ran the medium tyres, it's actually worked out for him in this endurance race. So it's a very smart move from Rabs. I don't think we saw anyone else out on medium tyres. I think he was the only one. So medium tyres look like definitely the choice that you should go for. Try and get as many, because the soft tyres are really starting to go on people. Yeah, that's it. Like, that's the experience and kind of the tactical prowess of some of these drivers. Is DJ's making a move up on the inside of Edinburgh there. Looks like he's just about got that done. And sorry, Al, you just saying about tactics there? Sorry, I was just getting.
Yeah, I mean, it's Rabbit. We were a bit shocked that he hadn't been performing at his best, but I think now we can start to see that he's just going to be slowly, bit by bit, climbing up this field with his fresher tyres. And I think whilst everyone might need to pit twice almost in this race, probably once actually for some of these at the top, but whilst everyone pits once or twice, he'll be
again. Look at this. I mean, you've got Webson's up there and you've got Rabbit up there. At the moment, Webson's is if things were to finish where they were now, with Webson's in second place and Rabbit in fifth, basically there's a point in between each position, so you know that's pretty much
Webson's overtakes
us up to a perfect tie at the top. So really, if Rabbit can grab himself an extra position now, it's going to cement his first place going into round 3. So if he can get himself 4 higher, if he can keep himself within 3 positions of Webson's, he will hold on to it.
And yeah, I think looking at
he's got his tyre wear to consider, which you know, look at that gap though. He's built himself up. I don't think there's particularly much of a problem with his tyre wear being as bad as that.
Yeah, because I think Webson's and Legion are basically just going to go toe to toe.
Yeah.
That Webson's just going to follow Legion. As soon as Legion pits, Webson will pit. Because as long as he holds on to basically just the back bumper of Legion, he'll be pulling himself through to second. But if Rabbit, I'd be eyeing up third and fourth. I'd be backing myself that I've got the better tyre wear, and it's just a matter of time before I can start making my move.
So, Ash, I think he's just giving Edinburgh Lad a bit of a sand. I'd like to see that position returned if people are doing that. So give him a little light word after this one. It's probably a bit of a frustrating race for him. You got Stefan Clift. We haven't been on board much this race. Been a bit of a dark horse. I know. Obviously, he did really well in sprint race. I think it was second place.
Yeah, came
Stefan,
second. Yep. Legion and Webson's gone into pit.
Oh, good spot on that one. So interesting. See how much time Dawsey's going to pull back, and is Dawsey going for a pit soon, halfway through the race, or is he going to try and go to full weight? No, he's going in now. ZFS DJ out on his medium tyres, probably not done as well as Rabbit's done. Probably the best at conserving them. So be interesting to see if he goes out for a couple more laps. It looks like they are. It looks like DJ and Rabbit are going to take the top of the race for a little bit, but obviously I think we're definitely going to see him pit one more time. Or you know, they might be going for the no stop, the cheeky no stop they sometimes call it, where they're not going to stop. Well, look, if you look at this, you know, half a tank of fuel. Yes, he's going to lose a bit of time at the end of this race. Legion's just come out now. Looks like Webson's is going to come right outside in this pack as well. If I was Rabbit here, I'd be looking at this, and maybe this is what he designed from the start. He designed coming into this race, this fast last endurance race, doing a no stop, knowing that if he went on the medium tyres, yeah, they're going to be shot by the end, but pit stop time is about 40-45 seconds. You're not going to lose that much time. He's actually making a move now up on DJ, up on the inside. Is he going to make it stick, or is DJ going to be able to hold that position on the outside, which Rabbit gives himself a little jump there, but looks like he's done that really well. So looks like the closest racing's been found right at the top in these top 4 places here, Al.
Yeah, but what I noticed was everyone who came into pit swapped themselves over to they kept themselves on the soft, so they'll have that extra bit of speed over Rabbit on the mediums.
This is it. Webson's is going to get past DJ and Rabbit. If I was DJ and I was Rabbit here, I would be thinking to myself, okay, Webson's proven himself very quick here. He's got a fresh set of tyres on. All the defending I'm going to do against him is going to lose me time. So I am not going to be on the defence against Webson's. I'll just leave the door wide open for him to go through it, personally, if I was racing this. Because not that I don't think Rabbit or DJ are as fast as Webson's. In fact, I know they equally are. But I think Webson's has got his eye in on this track, and with those fresher tyres on a faster compound, I'd certainly be. That's what I'll be looking at. Is DJ lost a little bit of traction there, dropped back a little bit, and Ash is grinding back a little bit on him.
Yeah, see, what I would be doing if I was Rabbit, as I see, I think Webson just overtook him, was I wouldn't be trying to fight too hard, but I'd be aiming to frustrate. I'd want
Looks
to.
Like Webson's got that move done. Apologies, mate.
Yeah, I just want to kind of sit and just make Webson's work a little bit extra, maybe frustrate them a bit more, try and push themselves around somewhere they don't feel too comfortable with, and try and hope either that they pull out a mistake or they wear themselves a little bit too thin.
Someone else has just gone into pit. Looks like DJ has gone in for his pit. I wasn't sure if he was going for the cheeky no stop as well, but mustn't be feeling too confident on those tyres and has decided to put himself in. And I think Rabbit's going for the cheeky no stop. And
I think it's possible, yeah.
I think this is the interesting thing with Ash behind him, also on medium tyres. And he's already pitted once, and looks like Ash has barely got any fuel left as well. Look at how much fuel Ash has got, and look how much fuel Rabbit has got, and that shows you how much fuel saving it can do. If you can fuel save and do it well, Ash has not got enough fuel to last the end of this race. He's going to have to go into pit again. And I think Rabbit has got third position tied up here, because behind that you've got Dawes in fifth, who's a good 10 seconds behind. Yeah, he's on fresh tyres, and yeah, he's going to be at a much faster pace than Rabbit, but all Rabbit needs to make sure he needs to do to get himself a podium in this race is make sure he doesn't slip and spin.
And yeah, and I think this is what he'd be doing is he's going out, like he's taking each lap in a good way, but cautiously. Not pushing himself too hard, and I think on that last lap, then it'll come down to a bit of a trickery, trying to hold off as the tyres wear out a bit more. But yeah, I think you're right that if Rabbit can pull off this cheeky no stop, then he's got a fantastic opportunity here.
Got a friend called Fraser who we race with sometimes, who's a very big fan of the cheeky no stop. So I'm sure he'll appreciate that if Rabbit does pull that one off. Looks like we've got a bit of a race here at the back for P11. Assassin's Blaster and Steedy going at it. We saw Assassin's Blaster was the one struggling earlier with that, that rear left tyre that was completely bald. Looks like he swapped out, got himself a medium tyre. He's going to be a little bit worn towards the end of the race, but it's certainly going to be a lot more comfortable than where he was.
Yeah, I mean, he had a fantastic first segment of the race. Really pushed hard, but again, it was just that issue with the tyre wear, and I think now we ran a bit too wide and might concede his position.
So Ash has ground back that gap on Rabbit, but as you can see, fuel-wise, he is extremely low, and he's gonna have to get himself in. If he doesn't go in, he's gonna run out of fuel on this lap. Yeah, he is going in now for some fresh fuel, so that should hopefully see him pull up. Be interested to see where that ends him on the race. Again, might have been a little bit undone by strategy. Stefan looks like just has got past LBG Baron. Didn't quite catch whether that was overtake or whether LGBT Baron lost it a little bit, or might even be in pause there by the looks of it, because they're ghosted out. Maybe writing a message or something.
Yeah, interesting one there. I'll have to keep an eye on Baron, see if they come back.
Looks like Dorsey's gonna be good for fourth as well. Fantastic night for Dorsey. I think he was at P5 or P6 for him in the first race, P4 for this race. Oh no, no, he didn't get. He was in P5, didn't he? Then he pitted at the end and ended around 10 or so, didn't he? So maybe he should have had a little bit more confidence in himself to ride out those intermediates the first couple of laps and swap himself out and fuel save it. But you can't really. I know what he's like. He will not be whinging at that fourth place. I think he'll be very pleased with that.
Well, that's it. I mean, if this is what he was aiming for, just trying to get as high as possible, and I'm going to risk this race, just go a bit lower to try and push above what I'd normally do, then I think it's an absolutely great achievement. If not, if it was a little mistake, then brush it off your shoulders. Go, well, I mean, I know now, and I think it's always good to have a bit of confidence in yourself, but it's always good to be a bit cautious about yourself as well.
So it looked like Steedy got the move done on Assassin's Plaza and moved himself up to 10th place. Unfortunately, we didn't see the move getting done, but I know last time we were on board, it was Steedy slightly behind Assassin's Plaza, so I imagine I've got the move done or Assassin had a slip there. But it looks like they're really just having a battle there for 10th place with that 30-second gap between Edinburgh himself. I swear Edinburgh lad has finished in 9th place in every single race that I've seen him racing. Certainly was 9th place in the first 2 races in round 1, so be interested to see if he finishes out in 9th place again. LGBT Baron I don't think's racing anymore. Looks like we've just pressed the pause button. Maybe something going on there at home. And it looks like Dorsey now, this is an interesting little twist. Dorsey grinding back a little bit of time, piece by piece on Rabbit. Medium tyres, he's being very careful not to give himself a slip. Now this is going to be the battle of the race, I think. Can Dorsey, with his superior compound, not fuel saving or anything like that. And Rabbit there losing his tyres a little bit, and it looks like Rabbit's going to lose his third place position, and Dorsey's going to move himself up to podium. Looks like Rabbit's going to look at the state of his car. I imagine he's had a couple of spins there. Really might be struggling at the end of this race. Maybe a really sound strategy in principle, but a really big ask to ask someone to hold, as you can see, hold a car together when the tyres are that shot. And he's got another 2 laps to keep holding it off, whilst 5th place keeps grinding down time on him. So, what are your thoughts on that one, Al? And now you're seeing that unfold.
That was always the danger, and I thought it would come in the last lap, that Rabbit would be having to fight this comeback from 4th and basically be fighting every corner to control the car. I wasn't expecting it so early, but it's the risk. You look so comfortable, and then it's a flip of a switch. It's that kind of 5-10% of tyre wear that you don't really notice too much as you go around one lap, but then that makes all the difference. And that flip point right there is kind of where you've got to catch the balance of, and you've got to catch it early and go, right, I need to pit in now, because if I go out one more lap, I'm going to be spinning out for 90% of this lap, which is everyone behind me.
Look how much Stefan has pulled back on him. You know, he had a good 2.5 seconds on him, and now reeled him into just a second. So I think Rabbit's going to struggle to hold on to P4. I think Stefan's going to get past and climb himself up position. I think DJ is going to be quite an ask for him to grind back 10 seconds on this before the end of the race, but it's certainly not impossible, because as you can see, Rabbit is really struggling on that on those tyres. I know we haven't kept up with the front of the race, but Legion of Weapons is the first and second. There you go.
I mean, yeah, very, very comfortable from both of them.
We go to where the action is, mate. We're not here with the fast drivers, so you can see there's a bit of an action happen here at the back. Kenobi, we haven't actually been looking much at Kenobi and what he's been doing this race. Steedy is in 10th place. Kenobi trying to get that move done, accidentally giving him a little bit of his inside there, and then just waits for him to get back on board before going away at it. LGBT Baron, I don't think's racing for some reason. He's just decided to pause and go around on Ghost. I think Kenobi's going to see himself out with a lovely third. Dawes is going to see him out with a lovely third place here. Looks like Stefan's already got past Rabbit and still grinding back, and it looks like Rabbit is still losing time out to DJ. And another question is Rabbit going to lose another place here? Got another 2 laps still to go.
And that's what I was questioning is, yeah, you've got 2 laps and you're like, right, it's not that many, but at the same time, every single corner, someone behind you is gaining quite a lot of time.
Oh no, he must be breaking his heart. It was so good to see the strategy and see if it, especially, it's nice when you see one person doing something and putting themselves on the line and see if it works for it. It looks like it really was, but now I think unfortunately it's starting to become slightly undone for him, as he now, I think he's going to struggle to hold on to 6th.
And if I were in Rabbit's position, as soon as that first spin out would have happened, I would have gone into the pits. Yeah. And gone, right, I'm going to lose a couple of positions here, but at least I can start gaining.
Has he lost 45 seconds worth of time? That's the question that you got to ask yourself.
I think by the end of it, possibly, because you saw he was comfortably in 3rd, and he's had the time ground down on him by both Dawes and now DJ kind of coming up behind. So it's because if he comes out on the fresher tyres, he could possibly come out on the softs, try and push himself a bit further, a bit faster, and see if he can grind back a bit of time and a bit of positioning. Whereas now he's 1, under pressure, trying to fight for his position, and 2, dealing with a car that wants to basically face the other way every corner. So I think we may even see him drop a couple more by the end of this race, unfortunately.
I think mostly people's possessions are all set now. I don't think... Again, we've got the question to ask here. Is Ash going to get past Rabbit? It's the only thing that's really going on at the track at the minute. Everyone's sort of comfortably separated away from each other. LGBT, as I said, LGBT Baron's been on pause for a while, so there's not really a race happening there. It's just someone going past them. In Ghost, so Bart's moved themselves up a position, and Baron moves into last place, which is a shame, because they were doing really well there, holding themselves up.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it looks like something must have happened for them to pull themselves out of the race. But
yeah, again, unfortunately, it's the deals of online.
Hedge your bets. Can Rabbit hold this? 5 seconds, 1 lap. I think this is the only thing that's
I
really
would
happening
say
on the track.
I would say he could, but again, he's spinning out on most corners. So I'm saying he's not going to make it. I think Ash will. I think Ash will come back.
Yeah.
And grind down this. I think there's going to be a couple of corners where Rabbit will spin out. Maybe not fully, but enough.
There it is.
There we go.
Now this is the question, Edinburgh lad. We keep repeating the question. Poor Rabbit. It's a genuine heartbreak to see this, but I think now is probably going to be where we see the positions all finish out by the end of this race. We'll give Legion his due and watch him round, as he as well has done the cheeky no stop by the looks of it.
Yeah, and
he did pit.
Oh yeah,
he did pit, didn't he? Apologies. He
yeah,
did,
him and Webson's pit at the same time. Basically started off the chain of absolutely everyone pitting.
Yeah.
But no, a fantastic race by Legion. Both races just so comfortable, so easy, so effortless. So yeah, huge plaudits to Legion and to Webson's just for sticking up there.
Yeah. Definitely. It's one of those where Legion, he also as well, he runs in the Lamborghini Huracan, a notoriously hard Group 3 car to run. But it's one of those cars that if you can drive it, you can be very, very quick.
Yeah,
very quick indeed.
I think it's one of those of like a tradesman who knows their tool to perfection.
Definitely.
It's a beast to control, beast to drive. But yeah, like you said, in the right hands, it's an absolute beauty. And for Legion,
so he goes over and confirms himself first position. So congratulations to Legion, great race run there, and also congratulations to Webson. I think he's a surprise package of this race, getting himself such a confident second position there.
Yeah, I mean a fantastic drive. Literally just sat on the coattails of Legion and went, right, I'll go with you. Let's go. And pitted when Legion pitted. Went when Legion went, and I think well done.
Dorsey comes out as his third, and Stefan comes and confirms his fifth. So congratulations, guys. I think another great run there from Dorsey. Actually, another shout out to him. Probably my driver of the race actually. Dors getting himself up to podium there. Well done to him. DJ, fifth place. Great race for him. And then Ash, also well done to him because of some of the challenges he was having early in the race to get himself up into P6. Rabbids, is he going to hold P8? Edinburgh Lads caught him up.
Edinburgh Lads run himself wide.
Happened on the track. He does hold on to 7th, and Edinburgh Lad comes over in 9th. Kenobi coming over the line now to confirm his 9th place. Oh, what is going on?
We'll just love to see the cars turn on the corners. And then grinding down the penalty before he crosses the line. Knows he's got time on his side, so may as well come over clean.
Steedy coming over, confirming 10th. And then Assassin Sablaza, 11th place.
And again, there's the tyres.
Yeah, he really did. You know, you can definitely tell he drives on his pad. And yeah, they really struggle on them.
Yeah, so definitely an area for him to work on. In the practices is just keeping that tyre wear as best as possible.
Definitely. So those results have now been confirmed in. So congratulations again to Legion for leading out that race and grabbing himself the P1. Well deserved. Towards the end of that race, I was already putting the results in, so we can pop them up and have a look at them in a moment.
Yeah, it was just that comfortable. When a team's 5-0 up, you can start engraving their name into the cup. And yeah, with Legion and Webson, it was not a matter of if, but when. So yeah, huge congratulations to Legion. Very well driven by Webson. Dorsey, another fantastic race, and yeah, just from 1 to how many we finished with there, 13. Yeah, fantastic driving, and yeah, I think everyone should be really happy and pleased with what they did. I mean, yeah.
So just going to confirm those race results. So we've got Legion in first place, Webson's in second, Dorsey in third, Stefan in fourth, DJ in fifth, Ash in sixth, Rabbit in seventh, Edinburgh Lad in eighth, Kenobi in ninth, Steedy in 10th, Assassin's Zablaza in 11th, Bart's in 12th, and we'll scroll down. And we had a dropout from LGBT Baron and Math, who didn't quite finish off. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to very quickly pop you guys on the whole screen whilst I confirm the final standings, and then we'll call it to the end of the stream, but it will take me about 2 minutes. But final thoughts on what you've seen end to end from quali race 1 to race 2. Any, again, outstanding performances that you think are worth highlighting?
I've said my piece on Legion, but incredible performance, just very well controlled from the out. So yeah, huge plaudits to him.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a few drivers again in this race for the endurance will learn a couple of things. I think Ash did really well to fight back the positions. After bad qualifying, caught in the wrong tyres, and managed to claw back quite a few positions in the endurance and did well. Zablaza showed what they can do in terms of their driving skill, getting themselves up to third for a little bit. But I think they'll be kind of really working on that tyre wear, trying to get that right. So hopefully we start seeing Zablaza really challenge, because we know the skill's there. It's just about the tactics.
It's quick. In fact, there's a few boys there that are quick. You know what I mean? Like very quick. And I think, like you say, the strategy sometimes undoes them slightly.
Yeah, and I think got to put a mention into Rabbit of trying to go for that. Well, actually going for that brave,
very bold
brave
move.
note.
And as you saw, it kind of didn't really work out towards the end of the race. But you can't really fault them for having a go in it, really, can you?
No, I mean almost with such fine margins, almost to a great race down. Just 2 laps left, and the tyre started to go. So I think it was a brave move, and I think obviously this time it didn't. The payout wasn't there, but I wouldn't be disappointed if I was Rabid. I'd be like, that was close. Next time. So I will note out Rabid for that and just say that was a fantastic effort to get a no stop. And Webson's huge.
So to confirm
hugely
the
impressive.
standings at the end of that round, we can now confirm that Webson's is now our season leader, first place, 56 points. Rabbit is dropped down to second place, drawed with Stefan for second place. So you got Kenobi now in fourth with 45 points, Bart's in fifth with 43, Dorsey in joint fifth with 43 as well. Then you got Ash and DJ joint seventh with 36 points. Then you got Edinburgh Lad and Legion joint 9th with 32 points, Steedy in 11th with 23, Math in 12th with 22, Assassin's Zablaza in 13th place with 18 points, Drakel and Red, who couldn't turn up tonight, in 13, and our new joiner LGBT Baron with 10 points. And that is how we're going to close out the night. I want to drop a big thanks to Al for doing your thing. You're an absolute star. I don't know how you just keep talking. It's an incredible skill that I really want to learn. But thank you as ever, mate, for coming in and joining us. It's really appreciated.
That's an absolute pleasure. Always wonderful to commentate over these drivers. I mean, it's good fun.
Great stuff, and we'll be back again next week. Unfortunately, Al, I don't think you can make us for our race next week, can you, mate? So
no, I'll be taking a hiatus to rest my beautiful voice and read up
us
all the
having some hold
encyclopedias
music or something, because there are times where I need to do set the grid order and stuff, and it's easier if I concentrate. So expect some kind of elevator music or something in place of Al. We'll replace him with a tape going into next week. But I hope you guys enjoyed the stream. If you enjoyed watching it, don't forget to subscribe, because we'll obviously put up future races and stuff. If you take interest in taking part, we take people from any pace level whatsoever. You can be the fastest person in the world, slowest person, we don't care, as long as you're a nice person and just trying to do your best on track. That's all we want. And if that sounds like your kind of thing, jump into the Discord. Plenty of leagues going on for you guys to take part in. But for now, I've been RBG and I've been enjoyed with Al, and next week we'll be going into round 3 at Mount Panorama, so it'll be interesting to see how that one pans out. And